Welcome to our presentation entitled Gasification Biochar from Horticultural Waste for Circular Economy. My name is Chi-Hwa Wang. I'm from the National University of Singapore. I will deliver this presentation together with my four colleagues here, particularly on the case study part. If you would like to contact us for questions pertinent to any part of the presentation, please contact me by the email mentioned here. So my name is Chi-Hwa Wang. I'm a professor of chemical and biomolecular engineering at the National University of Singapore. So in the first slide, I would like to show you the current waste management in Singapore. Largely, we have the generation rate of waste roughly around 20,000 tons per day in Singapore. Currently, the waste management goes through the collection, sorting, and we differentiate depending on whether it's incinerable waste or non-incinerable waste going through different routes. The majority of the incinerable waste go to waste to energy plant, taking the form of incineration to generate electricity and hot steam. The ash then go for possible landfill. So the number on the slide show you the capacity every day. So on the subject of waste to energy gasification, we look for alternative to incineration by modular unit to do gasification. This slide shows you the chemical reaction happen within such a gasifier, largely coming to in a typical downdraft gasifier setting to go through drying, pyrolysis, combustion, and reduction with the respective chemical reaction indicated in this box. So we have successfully performed the following pilot study to look into the use of woody biomass, food waste, horse manure, chicken manure, and the sewage sludge in a single-stage gasification system to produce synthetic gas comprising largely CO and hydrogen. So in the process, we also produce biochar. This slide shows you the use of different kind of feedstock are promising in terms of the syngas composition and the low heating value produced. In a way to optimize the reactor, one will be able to use simulation package in the form of either kinetic modeling or three-dimensional CFD simulation. In the past work of the research group, we have managed to demonstrate that it's possible to convert under the pilot study to contrast experiment with simulation to come up with the optimum design of such a reactor. So this shows you some of the snapshot regarding the resultant flow field, temperature, and the producer gas composition in the gasifier. So this slide shows you the comparison of simulation with experiment. We were able to benchmark the simulation result with experiments. Hence, so that closes the loop starting from the feedstock to produce syngas and potentially biochar. This slide shows you our prior work regarding the use of biochar for different applications, such as to use for agriculture to grow water spinach, to use the char as a source material to produce activated carbon, hence to do the treatment for wastewater to remove pollutant. The button ash from the gasification can be used as a source for catalyst. As shown here, we have successfully used this button ash towards the production of biodiesel. So the biochar can be used in agriculture and horticulture. In this slide, we try to demonstrate some of the potential use in Singapore to look into the production of biomass stage and regarding the subsequent gasification process, where we will be able to produce syngas and the biochar concurrently, and how the biochar can be used in the setting of agriculture and horticulture. In Singapore, we are also interested concurrently to develop a biochar standard. In our recent paper accepted for publication in Science of Total Environment, we address our effort in this regards in contrasting the comparable standard around the world. So including the European biochar standard, IBI standard, and the work done in Korea and Australia. So we try to figure out the best standard from the perspective of Singapore. Then recently we have performed a case study in Garden by the Bay, try to bring to a pilot study a larger scale gasification. So next, I will invite my colleague Dr. Li Xian to continue the presentation.
So the gasification performance and output production efficiency of the small-scale gasification system using horticultural woody feedstock, the characterization of the biochar produced from the system and the feedstock, the suitability of biochar as a cement additive, the effect of different concentrations of gasification biochar versus pyrolysis biochar in growth medium as a partial replacement for agricultural usage. So the feedstock used in this case study includes 18 different tree species crossing the gardens. So the gasifier is a fixed bed abstract reactor. The gasification-based waste heat utilization system is shown in this figure. This system consists of the updraft gasifier, the combustion chamber, the water scrubber, two water and water heat exchangers, and a domestic hot water tank supplying hot water for kitchens and a canteen at the garden by the bay. So we did an experiment regarding the gasification of the horticultural waste. As shown in Figure A, the temperatures of gasification reactors is around 400 degrees C, and we also get the combustion temperature is around 1000 degrees C, controlled by the smart control system. Figure B shows the air feeding rate versus the local time. As we can see, the air flow rates into the two gasification chambers both were in the range of 5 to 20 cubic meter per hour. Also, we get the hot water temperature and waste heat amount through our experiment. Based on the feedstock energy consumption and electric power consumption, ton gas consumption, and we can calculate the overall waste to energy efficiency is around 50.7% in this gasification case study.
Hello everyone, my name is Liu Ming, and the biochar is from the gasifier, and we can see the gasifier is shown in the first figure. The feedstock is put into the chamber at the top of the gasifier, and the biochar is collected at the bottom of the gasifier when the biochar is cooling down, and the gasification temperature is 550 degrees C, and the feeding rate of the gasifier is 30 kilogram per hour. Because the heavy metal concentration in the biochar is very high, so we separated the biochar into coarse biochar and fine biochar. And we also do microstructure analysis of the two biochar, and we can see both fine biochar and coarse biochar have porous structure, and the structure is in favor of the absorption of the moisture. Next, I will show you the heavy metal concentration in different biochars. And we can see in the first column, the heavy metal concentration in the raw biochar is very high. And if we use this kind of biochar for plantation, maybe it's not safe for food. So we separated the raw biochar into fine and coarse biochar to decrease the heavy metal concentration. As we can see in the third column, the heavy metal concentration in the coarse biochar is evidently decreased, and in this case, vegetables plantation. And the second figure shows the percentage of biochar particle size in volume, and we can see that about 99% coarse biochar can be about 1% fine biochar is left, and the fine biochar also can be used for other applications, such as cement additive.
Thanks a lot, Liu Ming. So now I will be explaining the gasification biochar for the case of construction materials, and especially assessing the suitability of gasification biochar fit for non-structural construction purposes, for example, footpaths, drainage channels in Singapore. So I will be explaining the straightforward study with the help of two figures. So the figure 1 is the comparison of 7 and 28-day compressive strength of 3 types of samples, which is for the coarse gasification biochar, fine gasification biochar, and with the control mortar. As Liu Ming explained that this biochar may be heavy in the heavy metals. I mean, the large quantity of heavy metals would be present. So that may be the case for the lower strength. And then the figure 2 will be the scanning electron microscopy images of control mortar at 7-day A and B, and the 28-day H, which is C and D. And then, of course, mortar with 2% weight of coarse gasification biochar at 7-day and 28-day H, and the mortar with 2% weight of fine gasification biochar at 7-day and 28-day, respectively.
So this section is concerned with the application of gasification biochar as a partial peat substitute. The treatments we studied were raw, coarse, and commercial biochar, as well as the controlled peat substrate. And we studied these across 3 crops: lettuce, chai, and pansies, which you can see in the picture here, and across biochar concentrations from 0 to 50%. Next slide, please. So for each of the 3 vegetables of interest, the aerial fresh weight was significantly different across the 3 biochar treatments with varying application rate. The overall trend that we observed was consistent with previous studies of biochar soil substrate mixtures, where the biochar application rate of up to 30% was found to have a positive effect on the yield. Overall, the productive rate of the biochar from the horticultural waste was found to be between 6 to 16%, which is also in line with previous research. And it showed that there's a positive potential peat replacement at biochar concentrations below 25%. Lettuce and the chai grown in our study in raw and coarse percentages of 10 to 30% outperformed the pure peat by as much as 130%. However, for pansies, which require a low soil pH, they responded poorly to the liming effect of biochar, and they were never able to achieve a stable aerial mass or produce flowers properly, as equivalent to the pure peat mixture. The raw gasification biochar had a higher heavy metal content and did not perform much worse than the coarse gasification biochar or the commercial biochar. This was promising because this means that the additional capital and labor investment for separating the coarse biochar is not necessary. We also realized that the different plant species have a range of different growth requirements and responses to biochar, and further pilot studies at low biochar supplementation levels across a wide variety of horticultural species are necessary before a large-scale adoption of the biochar can be applied. Thank you.
So next, we would like to show the conclusion of the study. Basically, we have present a novel case study dealing with the circular economy of gasification biochar. And we have found that an overall waste to energy efficiency about 50% was achieved in this case study. The growth experiment actually showed that there is potential for at least partial replacement, about 20 to 30% of the peat moss by gasification biochar. Furthermore, the addition of 2% by volume biochar actually reduced the compressive stress of the mortar. However, this level of strength is sufficient for non-structural functions. We also found that by upcycling about 5% of the 2 to 3 tons per day of on-site horticultural waste from the test bedding site into biochar could save disposal cost and the substrate cost significantly. Finally, I would like to take up the opportunity to thank the funding agency, Singapore, NRF, for supporting the project and contribution by group members. For any question regarding the contents, please feel free to contact me by the email shown on the slide. Thank you very much for your kind attention.